It was the first week that I moved to New York City. It was maybe the second time in my life I had ever taken the subway. I had just gotten to the city and we were living uptown, really, really far uptown at the very tip top of Manhattan. And our stop was 191st Street, which if you've been there before, you know it is 17 stories underground into the earth. You can feel it. You can feel how far down you're going, and it's like the air almost does get a little thicker. And when I moved, it was in August, so it was certainly hot and peak humidity for New York. We were going, I honestly don't remember what we were going to do. It was something really boring, like, oh, well, let's go and get some stuff at Target because we don't have enough pillows, something really basic. So we get down to the subway platform and the energy is really intense. Right away, I was pretty shocked. And again, this is my first week living here. And I want to make it clear, I had only been to New York one time before I moved here. And I had just kind of forgotten that the subway platforms don't have like guardrails, which if you live here, you know that they do now. Some select stations, they're putting up some sort of random metal guardrails. But for the most part, they don't. And on 191st, the platform, it just felt really thin, and we were waiting for our train to come. And, sometimes the express trains will zoom through the middle track, and there were some papers kind of flying around the air of one subway passing in front of another one and this and that. And it's already super overstimulating because you have, a lot of people. Some babies are crying, some people are running around, there's music going on, there's so much. It's kind of hard to ground yourself and take a hold and grasp what's going on. Then add, the 109-degree heat and 100% humidity on top of that. It becomes overwhelming for the senses very quickly. So then I hear almost like a scream or a moan, right? Not like a shrill, like, a bloody murder scream, but also not like, ooh, sort of like that. I don't think I could replicate it, but, someone moaning for help, that, And I turn quick over my left shoulder and I look, and in the tracks, there's a man laying in the tracks. I know this is a bad way to term this, but I said like a half man, right? It looked like a person just from the torso up in sort of like a white, grayish button up with a scraggly striped tie and like a dark charcoal gray overcoat that was all patchy and ripped up. And it was dragging itself along the tracks and reaching up, moaning and kind of screaming towards me. And my breath dropped out and I looked at all the people next to me, and it's that moment where you realize very quickly, oh, no one else sees this. Okay, so it's comforting in a sense, but also very uncomfortable because you're reckoning with reality. Is what I just saw really there? When you're already so overtaken by the lights, the sounds, the smells, the temperature, why would my brain create something even more horrible to add on top of that, on top of this weird, like, city shit sandwich of, like, just trying to get your bearings. And my boyfriend kind of heard my breath drop out. I went, oh, and he was like, hey, are you okay? And I, like, glanced down to where I'm seeing the man pulling himself across the tracks, reaching up at me, and I glanced back at him, and again, I know he's not seeing it. So I just say, yeah, even though I'm not. And we just keep walking. And this spirit, I think, had clearly, I used the word clearly loosely, right? What I interpreted was that this was someone who, it didn't seem like it was an accident, had either jumped or maybe been pushed, but had jumped in front of a train at some point and was cut in half. And I want to make it clear I didn't see his legs or the bottom half of him. But yeah, it was half of a man pulling himself and moaning like a true Ebenezer Scrooge ghost story of wailing for help. And then our train came and we left. It's those moments of, with this, right? What can you do? Say a prayer if you believe in God. But I don't know. So now I'll get into the second subway story I have. And this one's even more crazy, if you can believe it. Even more creepy and intense. There was one day that the energy of like astrologically, right, was very intense. I don't remember if it was like a eclipse or Mercury in retrograde, or I think it actually might have been the solar eclipse, like that last really big solar eclipse we had where people, took time off work to run outside and put their eclipse glasses on and see it. I think that was like April of 2024, maybe. Anyway, there was some big thing going on with the planets and the sun. And so the energy was already off. The weather was warm. People were angry. And it's so funny in New York City, right? Especially when you're taking the subway, because it's so easy to get sucked into someone else's energy, whatever they have going on. It's very difficult, at least for me, and I know it is for other people too, because I see how easily one person's bad day can affect everybody else around them, right? So I am waiting to get on a train going uptown, and basically the whole platform was very full. It was going to be a very packed train. So the train arrives, and as people are stepping off the subway car, it's a lot of people coming up. I think I might have been at Columbus Circle, so it's a busy station. No, it was at Columbus Circle, because I remember looking at the sign when I saw what's coming up. So people are getting off. By the time you finally get on, it's like, okay. But the great thing was so many people got off that there were plenty of seats. So I sat down. I don't usually sit. I usually just stand because it's easier to keep seats open for people, and it's easier to get off when it's your time to get off, right? So I sat, and to my right, we hear the please stand away from the doors. Doors closing. Please step away from the doors. And the doors keep trying to shut, but they can't shut. Trying to shut, it's like someone is putting their foot in, right? Or trying to stop it. And if one car, someone is doing that too, it happens to multiple cars, right? It's not just one train. It can be multiple train cars that if someone's trying to stop the train or hold the doors open, it can happen for the other doors on the train car. So the doors won't shut, and finally, this sounds so crazy. I know it does, but I have to explain what I saw. It's almost as if it was like an alien movie, but it wasn't an alien, right? But I just see these long fingers curve around the side of the door and push the doors open. And oh God, it makes my stomach fucking drop. This humanoid sort of type head pushes its way in first, with its neck following, and then its torso, and then its hips, and then its knees, and then its feet. And the minute I see it, right, I catch my eyes against it, I'm like, oh my God, whatever this is, I want nothing to do with it. And it's something that about living in New York City makes you feel even more crazy, because there are so many people who on the regular, ignore anything that's happening around them, right? So this could be real, this could not be. This could be a person in a morph suit and crazy special effects makeup just riding the subway for a reaction. Either way, no one is reacting, but the energy from this creature was so malignant and negative and just disgustingly prickly that I knew I just didn't want to be a part of it. So I looked at the ground, and this thing starts, I want to say walking, but it didn't even look like it was oh God, it's it made me nauseous. It was meandering through the car, working its way down. I was sort of towards the middle of the train, and it came in on one of the ends, So it's coming down slipping and sliding around, this pole, not in like a cute slutty way, like literally just like, it's like the energy it took for it to pick up its leg and push it down, it would sort of glide. And, I'm seeing this all out of my peripheral, and I'm like, the energy of the people around me isn't changing, which makes me feel like this is in my mind's eye. This is something that maybe is not for sharing, right? It's just me seeing it. And it gets to a point where it's right in front of me and it stops. It's looking towards the end of the car, like its profile is towards me, but it stops in front of me. And I just know that like if I give it an ounce of energy, it's gonna do something, right? It's gonna get in my face. It's gonna glom onto me. It's gonna try to suck some of my energy, whatever. Like, people say like, oh, ghosts can't hurt you. Like, sure, but I don't know what this is. And also not true. Ghosts can hurt you, okay? They can move shit in your house. It can fall on your head. They can scratch your back. There's so much. It's just like, whatever. Tell yourself whatever you need. But like, yes, they can. Anyway, it starts to turn and look at me. I just look deeper into my phone, and instead of feeling like, try to ignore it, I'm still putting out energy that way. I just open an app on my phone and I just start to very, intentionally pick out details about the post that I'm seeing, right? Oh, it's a guy, he has his dog, his hair is brown, the dog's hair is white. Like literally anything, like almost like you think to get yourself out of a panic attack, you're noticing sensory things. It's like that, like just try to take your brain off of the creature that's in front of you. We get to the next stop and the thing straightens up, like it's going back to whatever its mission was. And I got off the fucking train. I got off early. I was like, I'm waiting for the next subway because it was scary and I don't know what it was. And I had never seen anything like that in my life up until that point. And I didn't want to give it any more time or chances to interact with me. So I let that go. But yeah, those are two of my creepiest subway stories. And I say that frowning because they were not fun experiences to have.